I recently made a video about creators who make entire platforms in order to abuse their abusers by naming them and showing them and rallying troops against them. This is an abusive tactic, full stop. And it's telling because authentic victims don't actually want anything to do with their abusers because it hurts to remember. I'm an actual victim and I have to stay high level when I refer to my past because if I don't, I spiral for weeks and I can't afford to. I also don't want to allow my past abusers to continue to rule my life because I broke free and I don't want to give them any more power. My last sociopathic abuser took advantage of me when I started spiraling in 2019 after a major PTSD episode, which continued nonstop for months afterwards. She took advantage of my state. She also knew that I had a heart for those who suffer from mental illness or personality disorders. And knowing that I knew about hers, she used that to her advantage. And I ended up letting a lot of small abuse slide because she's sick. I broke free a few months into the abuse when I realized that it was actually much greater than I had originally thought. And I just cut and run. I didn't broadcast her name, but I told a small group of people what had happened because I desperately needed support. And even then, I avidly avoided slandering her. Because at the end of the day, she is sick. And that is terrible. I don't want her to be sick. I want her to get help. I want her to find fullness and maybe even one day be sorry. How the hell does exposing someone help me or them? At the end of the day, yes, I'm the bigger person, but I want them to heal. I've got a better shot at healing than they do, which is why I never publicly expose someone whenever they abused me. Will they go on to abuse others? Yes, they will. And I can't stop that, no matter whether or not I name them. But I can make educational videos to help others try to spot abuse. You don't need to publicly shame someone in order to educate others. And anyone who does this, I know that they are the authentic abusers. Because public shaming, especially if someone who cannot defend themselves, is abusive behavior. Now, I've spoken about this one specific situation here and there less than 10 times over the last 3 years, and I bring it up for purposes such as now, to educate others. I'm not trying to seek authority in victimhood matters, because I detest that. I'm a victim, therefore listen to me is a go-to for abusers who cannot stand on reality, and they must stand on emotional pleas. When this person victimized me and after I cut them off, they could no longer reach me personally. So they turned around and sought to publicly slander me. There was so little evidence against me that they had to create entire arguments, including fake screenshots, which, yes, is easy to do. If you say they aren't, then you've either done this against someone else to hurt them, or you are even more technologically illiterate than I am, which is extremely sad. On one Zoom I was on, someone showed a bunch of us in real time how easy it is to take a conversation you have with someone and change the words to say anything. He made me say, "I love Joe Biden." Believe me, that is something I have never said. She also recruited people with her fake emotional pleas, which is something every abuser does. Recruitment for the purpose of taking action against their victim. She and the ones she recruited claimed all these various things. One even went to a public figure's page to accuse me of things and try to get all of their followers to dogpile on me. Her flying monkeys also claimed that I had entire conversations with people that never took place. Zooms that I had called that I wasn't even present for. I was shocked at how easily I witnessed people just lie. People who claimed to be Christian for the purpose of hurting someone they knew was innocent. Another thing she did was start at least one other Facebook group for the purpose of getting people to hate me. She lured in good people with emotional tall tales and bad people who generally wanted to hate on others. I know all of this because some of the good people immediately came to me to inform me, sending me screenshots of other people saying they hated me for things I never said. This still didn't work to get me to retaliate so she could say, "Look, she's crazy." which is the goal of the abuser. So then the abuser did something so extreme that the remaining good people walked away disgusted, and only the bad guys remained. She was so desperate to convince other people that I was the mentally ill one that she took conversations I had had with her when she was pretending to be my friend while I was having a breakdown and confided in her abusive things that had happened to me, which I didn't want anyone else to know, since authentic victims tend to feel deep shame over specific abuses. And she made a Word document and then sent it out to so many people she lost count. She likely did this to try to prove that the abuse that happened to me drove me crazy. So I guess at least she thought what had actually happened to me was bad. But I guess she wanted me to suffer more. Obviously, taking someone's private abuse they confided in you in a time of peak distress and telling everyone else about it is disgusting behavior. And it's something that I refused to do even privately to one other person. And that was the last straw for the few good people she had managed to get on her team. Now, you might be asking, what did I do during all of this? Nothing. I did nothing. When people came to me to tell me the things she was doing to paint herself the victim because I got away, I didn't defend myself. Because here's the thing. Those who wish to hate others will believe as they will, and nothing will change their minds to stop them from hating. No proof, no logic, nothing. When people came to me to tell me what she was doing, I told them to leave her be. Not to interact to even defend me, and just simply unfollow. I was afraid of them incurring her wrath. In the end, the truth does set you free. Sure, toxic people will hate me, and that will never change. What I care about is veritas and goodness. I was not going to sink to this abuser's level, because then she keeps winning. Do you think if I had sunk to these people's level, I would have changed minds? No. It was their behavior that changed minds. Months later, when I would ask people why they believed me over them, they all said the same two things. The abuser and her flying monkeys were trying to get people to hate me, while I wouldn't even name them, much less try to get others to hate on them. It was this stark contrast between good and evil. And two, their stories kept changing. New ones kept popping up. They kept evolving and becoming more and more elaborate, whereas my story never changed. So I wasn't trying to hurt them. I just wanted to get away to heal, and I refused to become abusive in response, showing that, yes, I was the actual victim in the scenario, because if I had been the abuser, I would have continued to behave abusively. But I wasn't. I was interested in healing. And a few months later, I got to the point where I could start trying to help others heal by exposing what I had gone through. And I did it without lashing out and trying to generate hate towards others. Small minds gossip about people. Great minds speak about concepts and solutions. Those who desire rage and hate towards others will never be motivated against it. I saw that when I watched people make up entire reasons to hate me, even though I was good to them. You have no control over that. Good people with rational minds see right through it, as I do when I encounter creators who have entire platforms dedicated to exposing their abusers. I was a victim of someone who did that. Now, I have been through horrible things my husband doesn't even know about. 2 years ago, when I was on bed rest because of a risky pregnancy and was miserably depressed because apparently feeling trapped in a bedroom is a trigger for me, I finally told my husband after 10 years about one event that took place. Afterwards, as we both stared silently at the wall, he waited a few minutes before he simply said, "Thank you for not killing yourself." So when people come at me claiming authority and victimhood because they assume they've had it worse than me, and I sure haven't seen how they have, even though they've tried desperately to show all this abuse that they went through, and it doesn't even touch mine or other people who have confided in me, I know they're the abusers because they are trying to abuse me into silence in that moment. Just because someone doesn't scream their abuse from the rooftop doesn't mean they didn't suffer. And very few authentic victims can get to the point where they can finally be open about everything in detail. So take note who has issues with this video, because something tells me we're about to get a handy little cheat sheet.